Hello everyone. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's introduction to how stories are like medicine, how stories can be used as healing. And I hope that you really thought about certain stories, if at all. One of the important components of for stories to become vehicles of healing is the body. And before I go there, I would like to recap and then introduce you to why body is so important. So yesterday we spoke about stories having different functions. For example, for entertainment, for connection, for reflection, for identifying patterns, for community development, for teaching, and for celebration. So there are multiple functions of a story. And all these functions at some level definitely lead to healing. Even entertainment, for example, if you are not feeling in a very good mood and you listen to a nice, funny, or a loving, or a very positive story, your spirits will be lifted up. We also tell stories for connection and for other things. But when it comes to healing, reflection, identifying patterns become very important. But more than anything else, a deep connection to our body is very, very important for any of these functions to bear results. Because our stories are not only mental narratives that engage our imagination or a string of meaningful pictures, ideas, or dialogues. Rather, the story has a power to go right through us, reaching every cell and changing our chemistry and profoundly affecting our well being. Why do I say that? Think about our physical body. It is made up of many cells, but more importantly, it has two very important neurological setups. One, which is connected to our rational being, the rational mind, as we may call it, which talks about how we make decisions, the understanding of language, thinking, creating something, and all that. And then there is another whose primary function is to keep us alive, to keep us protected, and to keep us healthy. All the primary functions keep working without our interventions. The heart beats, we keep breathing, the kidneys do their work. Everything is on because of this background neurological function. One of the very important functions of this neurological setup is finding out what is continuously monitoring what is going on in the environment. So it picks up those sensations and those feelings and it reacts to it. One of the ways of reacting to it is movement, either fight or run away. But if that movement doesn't happen, those unresolved feelings, that energy gets trapped. And one of the functions that the stories can do is to help us release all the trapped energy, because the trapped energy causes illness, it causes mental patterns, it causes disturbances, and all that trapped energy can be removed if we pay attention to the story through the function of the body. And how do we do that? So our body stores it and we know these things through our sensations. For example, when you are angry, you will tighten your fists, or when you're feeling happy, you will be open and joyous and smile. The sensations attached to it will make it automatic. So when you listen to the story and you see what is happening to your body and you slow down, you can actually release those energies. The other function which I mentioned yesterday also is that it allows us to tap into the universal and it doesn't keep us trapped in the personal. And we will talk about this in the coming sessions. But this is extremely important for us to understand that the more engaged is your body, the greater will be the impact of your story for healing. So let me take you through a small framework of how we look at the body. So we look at the body in 5 layers. The first is the physical layer or the pranamaya. The second, or the annamaya. The second is the breath level, which is the pranamaya or energy level. The third is the emotions and the thought layer. The fourth is a layer of beliefs, patterns, and wisdom. And the fifth is joy. Now, if you look at the story also has these 5 layers. The first layer is that of the entertainment or teaching some morals or something. What you see in the words of the story. The second layer is what flows through the story. What is the energy of the story? The third is the kind of thoughts and feelings this story evokes in you. The fourth is the wisdom, or what do you tap into in terms of the pattern of the story. And the fifth is what is the resolution in the story. So I'll take a simple Mahabharata story. The war was about to happen, and both the sides were looking for what to take into their armies and their resources. So one day, Duryodhana went to meet Krishna. He wanted Krishna's armies to fight from the Kauravas side. And Arjuna also went to meet Krishna. When they both reached there, Krishna was sleeping. And so they both sat and they waited. When Krishna woke up, he saw Arjuna first. And then he saw Duryodhana. And he asked, "What are you here for?" So they both said, "We want something from you for the war." Krishna says, "Okay, Duryodhana may have come earlier, but I saw Arjuna first, so I'm going to give him the first chance. And I'm going to give you the second chance. But it's okay, both of you can ask for what you want." So Arjuna said, "I want you with me." And Duryodhana said, "I want your armies." And Krishna agreed. And he had actually mentioned earlier that I will be able to give, these are the two things, me or my armies. You can choose one. And that's where Arjuna chose Krishna and Duryodhana chose the armies. I'm not sure whether all of you are aware of Mahabharata, but Kaurava and Pandavas were cousins, and they were now in the opposing camps for a war. What does this story do to you? When you hear this story, what happens in your body? What are your sensations? What are your feelings? What patterns do you see? What do you choose in your life? Do you see any kind of, do you feel any kind of insight into this? Is there any kind of resolution that you see in this? The resolution was that Krishna divided his assets, himself and his army, into two. There were two people, he gave choices, and that is what happened. But what is the resolution of the story that you see? You can also look at the story from a point of view of elements. So the Annamaya, or the what you can see in the story, is the earth element. But as you listen to the story, you tap into its energy. There is an energy of equity. At the same time, there is an energy of decision making. Then there are thoughts and feelings. Arjuna's love for Krishna and Duryodhana's pride for winning. Then there are beliefs and patterns. Belief for Duryodhana is more. More is better. For Arjuna, bigger is better. And then the resolution, which will open up the space. The open up the space for your next steps. Open up the your space for the next thing. So if you are able to feel the story as the story is being narrated, or as you are reading the story, how it moves through different layers, and therefore what is the resolution that you can look for, and then we will come to it later, but how does this relate to your day-to-day life? So the layers are playing together. We are looking at the physical and the obvious at the same time. We are also tapping into the energy of the story and my energy as I hear the narration. What are the emotions that are being evoked in me? What is the wisdom? What are the patterns that I am able to see? And therefore, am I able to tap into that bliss, that joy, that resolution to move further? So, body is an extremely important component. And what happens when you read these stories, whether it's folk tales, whether it is mythology, whether it is fairy tales, can you compare these events to something which is happening to you or has happened to you personally? And when you compare, the body will respond in different ways. It will give you some sensation. You will smell something. You will see some pictures. You will, your hands or legs or your stomach will move in a particular way. There will be emotions that will come up. And there will be meanings that you will become present. What is the meaning do you give to different things, to different incidences? And as we go further, tomorrow we will take up Ganesha's story, as I told you before. We will also look at how this plays out in our day-to-day functioning. So next time you are listening or reading a story, pay special attention to what is happening to your different cells, what is happening to your different parts of the body, what kind of sensations do you have? Do you feel hot? Do you feel cold? Do you feel some kind of vibration? Do you feel some kind of change that is happening? What kind of emotions that are coming up? And then make a note of what it means to you. Remember yesterday's Hanuman story? Is the story of how we need to be reminded of our powers sometimes. And sometimes we have to remind ourselves of the power. Or when we get into the Ganesha story, it will be about creativity and about being instinctual. Or this story was about not just about decision making, but also whether you go with love or whether we go with fear. And that will make a lot of difference. So start paying attention to your body and to the stories that you are listening to. And then we will meet again tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Help Talks are daily health-related talks held at Health Education Library for People, Mumbai, India. For more information visit www.healthlibrary.com. Subscribe to Help Talks channel. Be better informed about your health.